provide a brief statement, along with Sergeant Stephen D. Woodard with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. On behalf of the City of Missouri City and the Missouri City Police Department, our hearts go out to the victims involved in this tragedy. The facts that we have right now are, on Thursday, June 20th, 2024, at approximately 8:42 p.m., Missouri City Police Dispatch received a 911 emergency phone call from a victim who reported a robbery in progress in the 1600 block of Cartwright Road at an ATM machine. It was reported an unknown male approached the victim armed with a handgun, demanding money. The suspect fled in a silver Honda passenger vehicle after obtaining approximately $200. The victim followed the suspect as he was talking to the 911 operators. Our Missouri City police officer was responding to the incident location traveling east in the 16 to 1700 block of Cartwright Road. Initial reports are the vehicle, unrelated to the initial call of the robbery, was exiting a parking lot onto Cartwright Road when a collision occurred with the responding officer. The occupants in the crashed vehicle were pronounced deceased by Fort Bend EMS. The officer was transported to the medical center and has since been released. As the investigation of the crash was being investigated by the Texas Department of Public Safety, it was discovered the responding officer involved in the crash had a male occupant in the back seat. The occupant was transported to Bentop Hospital and his condition is unknown. The crash investigation will be conducted by the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Missouri City Police Department will conduct an internal investigation concerning policies and procedures. Once again, our hearts and condolences go out to the family at the loss of this tragedy. And I'll take any questions you have.
Can you say if the male victim or the female victim was driving in the civilian car?
That is part of the investigation that DPS is taking care of.
I know we asked this last night, but as far as that person in the back seat is concerned, do you know who they were? Were they in custody or something like that?
The circumstances revolving around why he was in the car and how he got in the car are still under investigation.
Can you say anything about it? I mean, it's so vague.
It is, and it's still vague to us. Until we get much deeper into the investigation, we can make that determination. We're still right at 12 hours into this investigation, so it's unknown why he was there.
Witnesses were very concerned that maybe this officer that was responding to the robbery didn't have any sort of sirens and lights on and was kind of rushing to the scene. Can you say if he had lights on, or can you share what the policy is for when you respond to scenes?
Again, that portion of it is still under investigation. We have to go through hours and hours of body cam footage and the dash cam footage to determine if the lights and sirens were on.
What's the policy when you're responding to something like that? Should you have lights and sirens on?
We do have a policy that addresses prior to responses, and it just depends on the circumstances. And again, that's something we will determine as we move forward in the investigation.
And can you share any information about the policy? Are officers allowed to respond to scenes if somebody's in the car with them that's not another officer?
Yeah, no, they should not be responding, and the circumstances behind it, we will determine what that is, but they should not respond with the person in the back.
Family members came to the scene this morning, obviously heartbroken. Can you confirm what they were telling us, that it was a mom and her 16-year-old son?
I'll let DPS speak to that. That is their portion of the investigation.
Okay.
So was there only one officer in the car, or was it two officers in the cruiser?
One officer.
Just one, okay. And he was in the front seat with the occupant in the back seat?
That's correct. Did you want to say something about that?
Sure. So obviously I wouldn't be remiss without thanking the community, those individuals that basically stood by, took time out of their morning, early morning, late evening, to give us statements, to help add, of course, a more bigger picture or a little bit of clarity to this crash. I appreciate those citizens that stood by. I'm saying thank you on behalf of the chief and myself. Also, we'd like to thank, of course, the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office for assisting us with some of the electronic investigation piece. And we want to thank, of course, the Sugar Land Police Department for helping us with that as well. The deceased, the mother, is identified as Miss Angela Stewart, who's 53 years old, and the son, Mr. Mason Stewart, 16 years old. I can confirm to you that he was the driver, and they were both pronounced deceased by the Fort Bend County Medical Examiner's Office on the scene. It is customary for some agencies to reach out to the Texas Department of Public Safety with assistance or for assistance in these unfortunate incidents. So we're, again, an investigative and supportive piece, not only to the community, but to the Missouri City Police Department. Again, as the chief stated, this is an ongoing investigation by way of we, the department, looking at all of the electronic evidence and all of the physical evidence that was presented to us last night. And once that's complete, we'll be able to provide you more of a clarity of what happened that evening. Thank you.
Chief, can you tell us, was there any sort of dash cam from the patrol unit?
We were looking into that and pulling any dash cam video that is available. The car had severe damage, so we had to bring that car back here, and we're in the process of obtaining that dash cam video if there is any available.
You were saying the officer was responding to a robbery in progress call. Were they chasing this suspect vehicle, or were they just heading to the scene where this so-called robbery was happening?
Preliminary, we believe he was responding to the scene and not chasing anybody.
Could you give us some insight into who this officer is, how old they are, how long they've been with the department, that sort of thing?
He's been with the department a little less than a year. He comes from another agency with 2 years of experience, so he's got right around 3 years of experience.
So he was dispatched to that call? Did he not share that he already had somebody in the car with?
Again, that's part of the investigation. We will determine that, who was dispatched, if he was dispatched. That is all part of the investigation.
What happened to the robbery suspect? Was he ever arrested?
He was not arrested at the scene, no.
Do you want to give a quick description on the robbery suspect too? I guess who you're looking for, if you have any idea of a suspect?
I didn't bring that information with me. I do know it is a Hispanic or white male driving a silver Honda Civic. That's the only information I have right now.
And that victim, is that victim okay? The one for the robbery?
I believe so, yes.
But you still don't have an idea of how the person who was in the back seat is doing. They were taking a bent top, you said, their condition.
Yeah, their condition is unknown to us right now.
Any potential charges on the officer?
That is, again, part of the investigation.
Can you tell us how long he's been with the force?
He's been with our police department a little less than a year. He comes from another agency with 2 years of experience.
Witnesses also told us that the person in the back seat was in there for hours during this investigation and made it seem as if the officer didn't know that there was somebody in the back, and it wasn't until DPS showed up that they were able to pull him from the car. Is that something you're hearing as well, or?
That sounds accurate, yes.
So not to take away from the tragedy of loss of life, but we do have another victim involved in the robbery. So there are pretty much 4 investigations ongoing at this time. We have a robbery investigation, and then, of course, the 3 separate investigations in conjunction with Texas DPS and the Fort Bend County DA's office. So if there were any witnesses that were in the area during that time frame in the 1600 block of Cartwright Road, who may or may have been in the area of that standalone ATM machine, if you have any information that can be used in trying to apprehend and or identify this suspect, feel free to give the police department a phone call at 281-403-8700. We do not want to take away from that citizen being robbed at gunpoint in lieu of the loss of life.
Were there any other officers dispatched to that initial robbery, or just the one involved in the crash?
Again, that's going to be information that we're trying to piece together, who all was dispatched and the circumstances surrounding the call that he was either on or en route to.
So he may or may not have been the primary?
Correct. That's part of our investigation that we're trying to determine. All right. Thank you, guys.